Will the Cincinnati Bengals actually trade Trey Hendrickson? It's a question heating up fast, and the kind of move that could shake the AFC North to its core. Let us know what you think in the comments. Type Y for yes, N for no. But hold that thought, because there's a lot more to this story than just speculation. But before we dive deep into the latest Bengals buzz, make sure to subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, and tap the bell icon so you never miss an update on your favorite team. Trust me, you'll want to stay locked in for what's coming next. Now, let's get into it. Trey Hendrickson has been a cornerstone of Cincinnati's defense. Violent off the edge, disruptive, and relentless. But after some recent comments he made to the media, whispers have turned into real conversations. Could the Bengals actually part ways with one of the top defensive players in the league? Here's the reality. If Cincinnati does entertain offers, it won't be for future picks. They'd need immediate impact in return. This isn't about rebuilding. It's about reloading for a Super Bowl run in 2025. Some league insiders are floating potential trade partners, but let's be clear. This move only happens if the Bengals get someone who can help right now. Someone who complements a defense built around pressure and speed. Hendrickson is no role player. He was runner-up for Defensive Player of the Year, and some argue he should have taken home the trophy. So if this move does happen, expect the Bengals to demand serious talent in return. Talent that fits their timeline, not a future rebuild. If the Bengals were to trade Trey Hendrickson, it's not about getting rid of a player. It's about getting someone who truly moves the needle in return. Cincinnati isn't handing out one of the league's premier edge rushers without securing serious firepower. Let's talk fit. What would make sense for the Bengals in return? A veteran offensive lineman, someone who can step in immediately and protect Joe Burrow. Cincinnati has had its struggles up front, and a proven blocker could make a real difference. Or maybe a pass rusher in exchange, edge for edge. If you're giving up Hendrickson, you're not doing it without getting back someone who can pressure the quarterback with consistency and ferocity. What about linebacker help? The Bengals have young talent there, but a reliable veteran could steady the middle of the field. And let's not overlook the secondary. Adding a true playmaker at safety or corner could plug a gap and elevate the entire defense. Bottom line, if anyone wants Hendrickson, they'd better be ready to pay with real talent. Not picks, not potential. Game-ready players who can contribute in week one. Now let's ask the tough question. Who deserves more of the blame for this standoff? Trey Hendrickson or the Bengals front office? If you think it's Hendrickson, type H in the comments. If you think the organization mishandled this, type B below. This isn't a one-sided story. There's responsibility on both ends. But one thing's certain. If this trade actually happens, it'll say a lot about where Cincinnati sees itself in 2025, all in, or backing off the gas. Let's be real. Cincinnati has a pressing need at safety, and if a Trey Hendrickson trade ever became reality, targeting a high-level defensive back would be the smart move. A playmaker with instincts, range, and toughness. Someone who can bring back the kind of production Hendrickson provided on the edge. You're not trading a guy who was nearly Defensive Player of the Year for potential. You're demanding proven, ready-to-roll talent in return. Now, imagine landing a defensive back who was a takeaway machine last season. That's exactly the kind of player this Bengals secondary could use. Add in the fact that any team acquiring Hendrickson also has to pay him. This deal gets complex fast. But still, if Cincinnati could land a safety who makes immediate impact, that's a conversation worth having. And then there's this. Don't come asking for Hendrickson unless you're ready to give up a starter. That's the standard. Period. No backup packages, no maybe in the future talk. You take one of our top guys, we take one of yours. Take a team like Indianapolis, for example. There's an obvious coaching connection there. Trey Hendrickson has played his best football under Lou Anarumo, and that defensive system brings out the beast in him. If there's a team that could make a real move, it might be them. Cincinnati wouldn't be after filler. A talented slot receiver? Sure. Another versatile pass catcher in this offense could make the Bengals nearly unguardable. A veteran defensive tackle? Even better. You want Hendrickson? you better send us a rock in the middle. And look, let's be clear, this trade is still a long shot. Cincinnati's front office isn't trying to part with a star just for the sake of headlines. But if it did happen, it would take a player who moves the chains, literally or defensively. Now, let me throw it back to you. What would you want in a Trey Hendrickson deal? Is a future draft pick enough, or do you need an immediate starter on top of that? Drop your ideal trade package in the comments. Let's see who's thinking like a GM and who's just dreaming big. The Arizona Cardinals as a trade partner? It's a bit of a stretch, but not out of the question. If a deal is to happen, it has to center around immediate starting caliber talent coming to Cincinnati. No exceptions. If you're going to take Trey Hendrickson off this roster, the Bengals need a piece that contributes right now. Someone who doesn't need to be developed. Someone who isn't just depth. A proven defender, ready to step into a system that's built to win. Cincinnati's linebacker room could use a veteran with solid instincts and experience. Someone like Mack Wilson Sr. He's got the awareness and toughness this defense respects. Then there's the cornerback situation. With uncertainty across the board, bringing in a player with starting experience and playoff pedigree could stabilize that entire secondary. And don't overlook the trenches. A starting caliber edge rusher or defensive lineman could help soften the blow of losing Hendrickson's pass rush. The Bengals can't afford to roll the dice with unproven youth if they plan to stay competitive in the AFC North. But here's the bottom line. You don't trade a player like Hendrickson unless you're absolutely forced to. This isn't some back-of-the-roster name. This is a guy who has wreaked havoc off the edge for 2 straight seasons. 17.5 sacks. Disruption. Relentless motor. His absence would leave a massive gap. So if Cincinnati does come to the decision that things with Hendrickson are too far gone to repair, then the return must be equal in value and impact. Draft picks aren't enough. Hope and potential aren't enough. You trade a cornerstone, you better get one back.